And we just hit stream. In a few moments, James, the people of the world will be able to touch, well, maybe not
Dude,
touch us, but talk to us.
if they want to touch us, I mean, if they get soft enough hands, sure.
But everybody, this is Warp Charge Gaming. This is our 49th episode, Thursday night, 9 o'clock. We are approaching episode 52, or almost our year anniversary of doing this live talk show.
Whoa, no way.
Pretty cool. You had to remind me that there was 52 weeks in a year. I was like, whoa. Whoa.
Whoa.
Gnarly. Numbers add up, and they equal milestones sometimes. So looking forward to that. Tonight, I'm just sitting here at the couch in the living room. James in his studio. I am back at home after going to visit James for Adepticon 2019. Pretty epic.
It was awesome.
I certainly had fun, and we brought, Chris and Ali, our homies, were there. Mark Robles. Have we ever heard from Robles yet?
Yeah, we did hear from Robles.
All right,
he ended up at the hospital, but he's good now.
God, man.
He's good.
I was worried about him. Well, I'm glad that we heard about him.
Yes.
Too much backbending gaming there, huh?
Yeah, he just had back surgery, so he thought he was good enough, but after the 40k champs, it hurt him pretty bad, and he had to go back to the hospital.
Yeah, it's a brutal.
But he's good.
That's like
he's good.
Four rounds of gaming there. It's pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get.
I mean, it was a long day for me, and each day of the con, I put away a bottle of Captain Morgan, so they were long days.
Yes, indeed. Trying to get logged into the old YouTube here so I can see if we got anybody hollering out. But it was amazing. I got to see Austin from Death Ray Designs run his booth. Austin was super cool and hooked me up with one of the Kill Team trays that the Death Ray just produced. It has like 21 slots on it and a place to hold all your Kill Team cards. And we got to put the Gellerpox Infected that James painted up in the Death Ray Design booth all day long. People were walking by and checking this stuff out. That was super cool. We got this. There was tons of great vendor setups there. I think that's one of the there's, I know you've heard, I'm sure you've heard of Gen Con, James, like 60,000 people or something. Like I've never gone to one like that. We're more like the 5,000 realm or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think they broke 6,000 this year.
Mm-hmm. But I think that I've heard that even the vendor booth at Adepticon rivals that of Gen Con with the 60,000 people.
Oh, wow. Because this is kind of embarrassing, but this entire Adepticon, I did not even see the vendor area this year.
Ah, damn, James. We got some homies out there. Gordito's in there. We got to see Gordito Spree over at
dude, Gordito's the man. It was
Yep.
great seeing him. I wish I could have saw him more, but he was gone. Like, he was there one second, and then he was gone another.
Yeah, it was difficult on the link up. I was able to get Gordito his jersey. We got to all rep our Warp Charge jerseys. Stoked on that. We got a tournament coming up this weekend here in Richmond at Battlegrounds. That'll be a 40k tournament, the third in a tournament league that we've been putting on called the Battle in the Warp. Really pumped about it, but excited to see a lot of the homies jerseying up there and being representing pretty hard. It's gonna be pretty cool, man.
Yeah. And to those who want to know, did I play Kill Team Adepticon? Yes, I played Kill Team.
Yes.
And I'm not very good at it with that army, and it's all George's fault. He literally, like, handicapped me so bad. It was like I was playing with one leg. Because you get a roster of 20 dudes, you can play with 6 dudes at the right points, but I couldn't switch out per opponent. I was heavily rendered.
Yeah, I hadn't played the Adeptus Astartes prior to linking James up, and I came up with I did enough research to come up with a good all-rounder list.
Yeah, no, it was a great list. It had spicy combos, and it literally came down to dice rolls. Like, it could have, every game could have gone either way just because of dice rolls, but it had the keys to take things out, but it wasn't specialized where I can, like, take advantage of the other equipment that is offered.
Yeah, particularly, like, there's the guy with the power fist. You can change that out. Like, you can get flamers, and whenever he was going against hordes or not, he could have equipped a little bit differently, and that's the beauty of Kill Team, is being able to do that. And I definitely fell shy of keeping that in mind when building the team. I guess part of it was like, James won't even know what he's going up against enough to swap something out, you know? I thought it'd be like dragging you along to work the command roster, but James admits that you started to the game itself was something you could see the enjoyment in, but maybe the faction was not your favorite playstyle.
The game itself definitely has its merits as far as it being quick play. The hobby aspect. This is one thing about Adepticon Kill Team that I have to praise, like beyond praise, was their tables were beautiful. Granted, they're way smaller, but it was all GW terrain, all painted by pros. It looked gorgeous on every table. George played the Gellerpox, which isn't a shitty army at all, but there's so much line of sight that he was able to do very well with them. It was just very impressive how like the hobby and it's taken to another level because it's more manageable compared to a 2,000-point army. So I really love that being a painter. The aspect of being able to do the tacticians of like your moving and shooting, since like they interact in basically your phase because there is no like my turn, your turn. Right. It's all at the same phase. So that's interesting. That tactics of it. Still get your stratagem. Still get a 40k vibe. But I want combat. They bring berserkers to Kill Team. I've said it at Adepticon. I would make a Kill Team berserker army or warband or whatever you want to call it.
I'm really excited about Kill Team Elites and to see if that comes into play. That'll be really cool. I'd love to also really see your Trader Legion there. Apparently the Trader guys from Blackstone Fortress are really good in Kill Team as well. They weren't even allowed at Adepticon because they were, I guess, kind of broken. Another factor too, James, that really handicapped you that we realized as we were playtesting the Adeptus Astartes how good the expansion tactics were, and I hadn't realized until literally like coming to Chicago that you can't use the expansion tactics in the Adepticon missions in the back of the packet. And for the Black Templars, you had Angel of Death to add an extra attack to the Sergeant with the Power Fist, which was way good. And then, of course, the best one is where instead of being taken out of action, you just take a flesh wound for 2 seconds.
Those two things would have helped me dramatically in my games.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dramatically. And I knew they weren't allowed, so I didn't, like, keep them in my mind. And I haven't played any games. We literally played 2 games. And then I got to go and play in a tournament twice. So it wasn't like a thing that I was really concerned about. What I was most concerned about with the list is I couldn't change where, like, they saw what I had, and they could change based off that. And it was like, oh, well, I got a cool combo that I'm going to pull off and try to kill your dude.
Yeah.
And it worked a lot of the times, but the games that it did not work, where it just, like, failed to a wound or they made their invul save, it was brutal because, like, I relied on that combo. I literally kept 3 dudes from being mobile to do that, and it just I couldn't claim enough objectives. So like the missions kind of hurt me on that aspect. Yeah. If that didn't pay off, if it paid off because it's 4 turns, I end up claiming those points, and that's why the games I did win, they were like huge victories.
Well, it's going to be fun because we have those all recorded, and I also recorded all of my games just like we did for the Nova Open footage. What's fun is 2 of the games, in each of the pods that I played out of the 4, I was able to do win 2, lose 1. And the ones that I lost to, I got to play against some people I follow in the scene. One, Elliot, that won Nova Open. I got second, he got first. I got to play him for the first time. We actually didn't get to play at Nova, even though we were competing heatedly. So I got to fight against him, and he actually was pretty much the overall winner of Adepticon. He won multiple times in a row with his a list that just nobody could deal with. He was scoring 18, 18, 18 perfect scores. It was a Poxwalker spam list with 15 Poxwalkers, basically a guy with a blight launcher, a guy with a flail, and a leader. But he would just go in between, like having more heavy shooting and a few less Poxwalkers, but particularly just spamming the objectives. But I went against Elliot, and I was tight to get the film, and I had a lot of friendly banter with him, talking a lot of shit. And then I got to go against Chuck, who they call him Necron Chuck from Vancouver, Canada. He actually got 3rd in LVO with Necrons. And it was funny when James and I played. I actually did a test game with him where I just went and grabbed some of our buddies' Necrons upstairs and put them on the field for the first time. And they are definitely tough to take off the board with their stupid reanimation protocols. On a 6, they just go right back to full health and remove all flesh wounds.
Yeah, what's crazy is if they're within an inch of obscurity and you're wounding them and you need that 5, but a 6 makes it so that like they're back to full health, it's really hard to get rid of a Necron.
Yeah. Well, the Necron Chuck was a great player. He played them a lot differently than I necessarily expected. He played them really aggressive, forward-moving. I definitely was cool to see him how many flayed ones he took and how he squeezed the points on Necron Warriors versus Immortals to squeeze a few more flayed one points. And he was a great player, and he did well all weekend as well, as long with a good friend of his from up north. So it was cool to see some heads. Also played in the Age of Sigmar Champions event that I was gearing up for, and that was cool. I got to play with like 3 of the different mini wargaming cats. My first matchup was against Josh, the big bearded gentleman. Matt was playing beside me along with his wife, and what's the dude's name? Colin, I believe his name. But it was cool to see some heads, and you know, just you see that everywhere at Adepticon. Is just a lot of content creators, and then people of the scene that we've all seen throughout the years that you meet each year, year after year. You know, like I've met a ton of new people this year, but then seeing the guys from Shops Closed, talking to the mini duels booth with their cool MDF cut terrain. Again, seeing Death Ray Designs. It was cool to see Creature Casters. It was also cool, the Secret Weapon Bases guys. That was a fun experience. I went by their booth and I recognized the bases that you had painted for me on the Gellerpox Mutants. And I was like, oh, dude, let me show this to you. And I busted out the Gellerpox, and he was like so happy to see that one of his, it actually was the designer of the Secret Weapon base, was looking at your paint job of the bases he designed, you know. It's pretty cool.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, fun experience.
Gordito's commenting on a job well done that you accomplished me learning Kill Team. Gordito, I'm a gamer, man. That's what I do, is I game. So like, if I get introduced to a game, I will understand the rules pretty well. Even though like I didn't get in a real game of Kill Team, like George had the training wheels on, telling me this. If George puts this together from my video coverage of my very first game, it is going to be hysterical, because we didn't know the rules, both me and my opponent. So we forgot to roll injury table for like the first like 3 or 4 wounds. Like it was like turn 3 when we actually started playing the game right. I even asked for an adult. Like the audio footage is hilarious.
Oh man,
George's game was already over. He already won by 18 points, and it was just like, George, is there an adult? And my opponent's like, calm down. We can figure this out. Look at the rules. I'm like, I don't know, man. Let's just skip it. I'm anxious. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. But after we like went through the rules and there was no training wheels, and like me and him learned the game together, from that game on, it was like, okay, I got this. Like I understand what I need to do. I get all the rules.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, give me some corn. Give me some berserkers. There's plague marines. Give me berserkers, and I'll be happy. Or maybe the goat dudes. The goat dudes for Blackstone Fortress. Are they allowed in Kill Team?
Yeah.
I might run some goat dudes.
Yeah. There's lots of cool things to be thinking about. I'm excited for the fact that Nova Open's doing arena. I'm excited to see how Elite comes into play. Kill Team is. I'm glad that James got to play Gordito. Yes, we did it. It was cool that, and now the Black Templars. Next time I do some streaming, I got to throw them on stream so you guys can see them up close and personal, because they are looking so sick. Now they're in the display case now at Battlegrounds, and also is your display board too. The amazing Kill Team board / display board you made for the Space Wolves.
Yeah.
That is sitting beautifully and prominently. I actually just set it up to show a little bit of imagery of what that looks like. You guys can kind of see some shots right now. This thing is massive, and with all the Space Wolves on it, it's just like my heartstring. It's so beautiful.
What's a little strange about it is, compared to the 40k 4-man team event at Adepticon, it's very small compared to some of those displays.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I thought we were lugging around this giant display board, but honestly, it's like a 2,000 point display board compared to these 4,000 point display boards. They were full tables instead of this Kill Team board. And the Shops Closed guys that we actually let borrow it didn't get full marks on the display board because it did not have lights.
Yeah, wow. No lights, no good.
Yeah, so I kind of dropped the ball by not putting lights on it, I guess.
Man, I really think it'd be tight to have a like a
lights on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, lights on it. I get it.
You know, like
you gotta put lights on it.
A glow underneath the Sky Shield landing pad.
Yeah, just some lights, you know.
Yeah, you should have figured that out. Just like I should have gave you a full command roster of Space Marines.
We'll keep dropping the ball until we get it right.
Yeah, that's right.
Hilarious.
Tau versus Tyranids. Yeah, there were some amazing boards there.
Oh, dude, there were some gorgeous boards there. Even though our board looked really nice with those Space Wolves and Custodes, all with snow bases on there.
Yeah.
Just like your wolves do. It's kind of nice. Any snow thing looks good on there.
Totally. If you guys want to see some of these pictures, definitely go check out our Facebook page as well as Instagram. Chris was loading up hundreds of pictures to our Facebook page.
Yeah. Chris actually like gave me the view of the con because I was stuck in game mode or drunk mode. It was one or the other.
Yeah.
There was no enjoying the con if you saw me. It was either I'm gaming and getting my ass vected, or I'm getting wasted because I got vected.
Yeah, there's still, we actually have a ton of content that we will kind of streamline and put out in a good fashion. I took a bunch of pictures as well. I'm actually going to be getting interviewed next week. I'm just putting a lot of effort to next week, but also the guys from what's this channel called? It's called Glass Half Dead. Pretty cool kill team channel that's up and coming, about at 1,700 subs. Go check him out if you guys haven't yet. But there's he's been doing a ton of interviews, like lickety split, with all of these tournament players. So he's hit up Elliot, hit up Necron Chuck. So yeah, it was the shout out that I shared to you a while back. There was been some Warp Charge shout outs on that channel, and he actually hit us up for an interview next week. So looking forward to that. He's in the UK, 6-hour time difference, so got to set that all up with the accordingly kind of thing. So looking forward to that. But there's going to be a lot of content that's about to be dropped, no doubt. Kind of stacking it up, I guess, with everything that's going on. It's a little crazy. This week's been nuts, just kind of reacclimating back to the store and playing the show tomorrow. That's pretty exciting. The first Fridays around here in Richmond get pretty hyped, so I'm doing a DJ show in the street and been prepping for that. And then a big tournament on Saturday, big 40k tournament. So that is what's going on for now, and editing will go down next week.
And I'm excited about 40k. I mean, Adepticon was fantastic for the champs playing singles. I went 3-1. I lost against a girl. First time ever playing a girl, and I lost. She vected me hard.
You got vexed.
She was Yannari, Harlequins, and Dark Eldar. And my turn 2 is like my power turn. I'd planned to go second, and she made me go first. and then turn 2 happened, and she vected my shoot twice, endless cacophony of my obliterators, and then she vected my Zangor's fight twice, and on both of those vecs she got 6s. So it ate away basically 6 command points because I put Veterans of the Long War on both of them. So that's basically 3 CP eaten each vect. So it broke me. It was a matter of time. I still gave her a good game, but I knew I was going to lose, so I was just trying to cover that differential, and she beat my ass. And then I played Dark Eldar again and got vected 3 times in that game.
You got vected.
But because it wasn't full soup and I didn't get vec 6'd, I still had my resources, and I pulled that game out with a 40-0 win. And then my last game was actually a local player, and he lost to Nick Nanavati, so that's why he ended up playing me instead of going on to top tables. And that game was real fun, but he also vected me multiple times. Like, it was just vect after vect. I have nightmares of vect.
Yeah. So there's 2 cool things, there's multiple things that are happening with 40k all at the same time. Like Adepticon 1 is, we got some, there was some teasers so that we have a new APOC coming. They showed some sick new Slanesh models. There's a new Keeper of Secrets model that just rocks. There's Warcry coming down the road. It's lots of fun things in the new releases. But then also we actually have in hand, we have the new Vigilus book, and we have a new Chaos Demonkin kind of combo book that gives us some new rule sets. I know you're really excited about. Before we talk a lot about that, just let's mention the ITC. That's another thing that's just going to really change the way that we've seen competitive gaming for this 2019 season, because people are going to be more rewarded to play armies that aren't as optimized with doing soup. What's the solution? It's so cool.
There's so many changes on top of all that.
Yeah.
Like, it really blows my mind on how many changes they just made. One factor is the fact that Adepticon marks new big FAQ.
Exactly.
So this month we're getting new big FAQ. So regardless of new rules, new ITC factions and no soup, like you're already gonna have a meta change.
Yep.
And then at Adepticon, they released all this new chaos stuff. So they updated the codex, and now it's this version 2. And then they have the Vigilus supplement on top of that. And then with you got Shadow Spear, you had the Demonkin mini codex, which all that got transferred over. But what I didn't see get transferred over is the Psyker Warlord traits. So if your Warlord's a Psyker, you actually get these new 6 traits that you can pick from. One of them actually allows you to get command points on successful casts. So that one's pretty cool. So they have some really neat aspects in that help Chaos. But with these new Lord Discordant that it is previewed, it's actually funny that GW community page, we're talking about if you take it as Alpha Legion, it gets -1 to hit, but it does not get Legion traits. So within about 5 minutes, they had to edit that article because they got bombarded with, you don't know your own rules, GW.
So just to slow it down there because they may not catch that. So GW posted today a article about their new model that's coming out for Chaos, and they were talking about ways that you could buff it up in a way that actually was not legal. And they didn't even know their own rules per se, and so they were getting beat up by the internet within like 5 minutes of posting that, hey guys, you just said that we could do something we can't because you don't know your own rules enough or what, you know? So they pulled the thing down.
Yeah, and they removed all the comments that were like making fun of it. It was funny. They had to go to work quick. But they gave us Lord Discordant rules already, so we already know its keywords. We already know what it does. It's over 12 wounds, so it's targetable. So they were talking about ways to make it survivable. Well, the new prayers was a -1 to hit prayer, and they were talking about if you stack it with Alpha Legion, it can be -2, but it can't be. But there are plenty of ways to make that thing survivable. I mean, if you make it Black Legion and the new Vigilus Codex, you can give it a new Warlord trait that halves damage like Abaddon halves. So basically it comes 24 wounds instead of 12 wounds. You can give it Mark of Zinch, and then with Cursed Earth and Weaver of Fate, you basically get a 3-up invul with 24 wounds. Like, that makes it pretty difficult to kill. And then you can still put the prayer on and make it -1 to hit. I don't know. That sounds like it's harder to kill than Magnus.
Yeah. Yeah, which is awesome. And so, and all this drops, all these new Chaos Space Marine rules come available as we now have a new version of the ITC where you can compete in a more fair fashion for Chaos Space Marine. And technically, James has made it to being #1 Chaos Space Marine so far in the ITC season, but not under the new way that the ITC rule set performs. So he's still in that place now, but now you have to make a decision. There's no allowance of mixing up your other detachments. The new way the ITC scoring is for best faction is that each of your detachments must be the same faction keyword to be able to win that best faction result.
Yeah. So right now I've been top of Chaos Space Marine since the beginning of the season. I've kept that ranking, and then how well I did at Adepticon still keeps me there. I tied with our buddy at the Wobbly Modelers, Austin. We both were at 56th. So we were 200 above other people. So it was kind of cool being that with 3-1, not going into day 2, but it left me at top of Chaos Space Marines. So this point forward, my list would actually make me Chaos. But they're not going to change where people are already at. They're going to keep those points. So if I want to continue to play a Chaos Space Marines, I take only Chaos Space Marines or Heretic Astartes detachments. No Thousand Suns, no Death Guards, no Demons. Your chapter doesn't matter, though. They're not doing individual chapters. So they're not going too crazy with that. So if you play all Black Legion, you're still competing with all World Eaters. But what's nice is because they made these mono faction, no soups for your top in faction, they opened up the gods. So yeah. Chaos has 8 ways to compete. You can play pure Chaos. You can play Thousand Suns. You can play Death Guard. You can play Heretic Astartes, Chaos Space Marines. And then you can play all 4 gods. So Nurgle, Zinch, Slaanesh, and Khorne.
So you could beat Death Guard with Nurglings.
Yes, so you can have your Death Guard and your Nurgle soup, as long as it all has the Nurgle keyword, and a lot of people have that, like our buddy Robles. So instead of him playing top Death Guard, he'll probably be playing for top Nurgle now. For myself, I loved Khorne Demonkin, and if they were going to do this mono faction, I was going to get a little sad that I could never go for pure Khorne player, but now that they made it so there is Khorne, I could play World Eaters with Chaos Demons Khorne, and that's what I'm going to bring to the next tournament. I'm actually pretty excited for these new Obliterators getting these mini Power Fists, because everyone's talking about gotta run him Slanesh, gotta run him Slanesh, so that you can shoot twice with these awesome stats. And it's like, no, I want to run him Khorne, because I'm going to take them as individual units of 1 with a Lord, with a now a Thunderhammer, because that's an option we get. So we get that flat 3 damage Smash Captain. And then I'm taking them with a Kami Melta. So I can drop them in with the Obliterators. They all can shoot at vehicles because they have something that can pop vehicles. And then they can charge into the screens. And because of the damage they can do, they can wipe out like light vehicles, tougher screens like Space Marines themselves, and just smash. And then my idea is turn 3, I drop in 3 Bloodletter bombs, and then I just clean house.
I love Bloodletters, man. I just did a bat rep last night. That wasn't a fair contest, but you know, he was bringing that list that he brought to the table to the tournament, and I guess against the wrong matchup against his list, then that they could struggle against his endless Poxwalkers. But man, the killing power of Bloodletters is nuts. You know what got me thinking though, James? Where what's interesting is just like Robles he has scored for Death Guard and you're scored for Chaos Space Marines. Where there's people that have scores established for that, but no one should have a score for Khorne, Nurgle.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody has it.
So that's a fresh 0 start, right?
Yeah, that's why I wasn't planning on going to a tournament again until April 20th. There's a tournament at Cataclysm in Rockford area, and I love that store. It's beautiful. It's just like Battlegrounds, can hold lots and lots of people. Great store selection, and they do like a 10% off day that day as like a customer appreciation. But there's also another tournament this Sunday, and I was not planning on going to it, but I might just take my Khorne out for a spin just to get that top ranking right away.
Sure. Yeah, that's funny that you know, if Robles wants to go to Nurgle, he has to start fresh despite the points that he's accumulated for Death Guard. And like yourself, where you're thinking about actually going with 2 different lists throughout the season, competing for both slots individually.
Well, Robles could still go Death Guard and just summon his Nurgle stuff, because they did say summoning does not count towards your faction.
Yeah, there's several what do they call them? Exceptions, like fortifications, I think was one.
Yeah, fortifications are definitely don't take anything, and that's one thing. This new Chaos Crown, the Warp Gate or Stargate fortification that came out also while we were at Adepticon. This thing has been overlooked. For 100 points, it's kind of badass.
Yeah, what's it do?
Dude, it's toughness 8. It's got like 13 wounds. But it gives a 5-up invul, 6 inches out, but it's like 8 inches by like 4 inches, so it's like pretty big. So 6 inches out from it is quite large. And then I believe 24 inches from it, if Psychers roll doubles, they receive peril, so it doesn't have to just be double 1s or double 6s. All Psychers within the bubble get to reroll psychic tests, not just failed tests, but psychic tests.
Okay.
But the bubble gets bigger every turn by 6 inches.
Jeez.
So it just keeps growing because it's like they're coming through the warp gate. So like the army's expanding outwards. So you can place it on an objective because it has to be 1 inch from another piece of terrain. But since it's your model, it can still claim an objective. So you can have this really tough thing that has, I believe it's a 3-up save with a 5-up invul that's toughness 8 that just sits there and it can screen for you as it's giving your Havocs a 5-up invul. And then you can put Cursed Earth down on things, get an extra invul. I mean, it's pretty nasty for 100 points. It's basically a pylon that doesn't shoot, but has like way better buffing rules.
Man, I love all the tricks that the Chaos Space Marines are getting.
Dude, there's so many tricks. A big one that people are talking about that memes have already been created for is a Lord with double chainsword, because there is a chainsword relic from Black Legion now that on wound rolls of 6s, it does an additional mortal wound, and it's neg 3 AP, flat 2 damage chainsword. And then when you attack with that weapon, you get 2 additional attacks instead of how a chainsword just gives you 1 additional attack. So I'm not 100% sure if you have to attack with both chainswords, so like 1 normal chainsword and then the rest all that super chainsword, or if it can all be 1 since it's still chainswords. Not sure, they're going to have to FAQ that, but either way, it's going to get anywhere from 7 to 8 attacks with this chainsword. You can give it Vets for another +1 to wound, so it does mortal wounds on 5s. The new prayer, you can give it another +1 to wound. so it does mortal wounds on 4-ups. So on 4-ups, you're doing mortal wounds, and then you get 7 attacks that are going to be strength 8, probably. Well, it's getting +2 to wounds, so you're probably wounding things on 2s that are -3 AP, flat 2 damage.
Yeah, nasty.
And so you got this double chainsword dude that can literally just drop in and murk people. And then you got this flawless demon prince that I've been like high on. Like, I love when demon princes can go Super Saiyan. When they like get the right thing that just makes them so OP, they can just murk knights. And flawless is a renegade chapter of Zinch. And what it does is they have a Legion trait of 6s to wound, does an extra, or 6s to hit, does an extra attack. Just like that for the False Emperor. And it stacks. So you can have, like, going against Imperium with that Legion, 6s are going to do an extra 2 attacks. Pretty strong. But with the Demon Prince, if you have him as your Warlord, every 6s to hit are an extra 3 attacks.
Jeez.
And then you can give them extra attacks with Diabolical Strength, the Elixir, the Intoxicating Elixir. So you can get him up to Strength 10 with 9 attacks. And then if you have Scarbrand nearby, it's 10 attacks. But every 6 to hit, which if you give him Prescience, even though he hits on 2s, reroll 1s, you give him Prescience, so those 6s become 5s. So then every 5s to hit becomes an extra 3 attacks, and against Imperium, it's an extra 4 attacks. Against the Knight, he on average does 21 attacks. Even with the 5-up save that a Knight has, they're putting out 24 unsaved wounds.
That's nuts.
So, like, that just came out of this new book. Like, I'm excited about this Warlord, and if you just take him in a Supreme Command, it's about 500 points, basically what a badass Knight is, but it can Voltron out. Like, you can have the supporting characters do their own thing, but if you need to take something out, you go Super Saiyan and you just murk whatever you want to murk. And especially against light vehicles, like, you're just putting out so many wounds. If he just charged into, like, 3 Wyverns and he could touch them all, he could split attacks and kill all 3 of them.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to crack it open. I keep wanting to do so. I had to get ready for Age of Sigmar and 40k, though.
Dude, I'm so hyped on it. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to trap and what's not a trap, because you can have a 20-man possessed unit walking around that can wound anything in the game. Anything. Scabathrax. Anything toughness 9. A Warhound Titan. Anything in the game it can wound on a 2-up. Like, are you serious? And they can hit on 2s. They can reroll all hits. They get extra attacks, and they get damage multipliers. I mean, they can just go ham.
Yeah.
But it's a 400-point unit, and then you're putting another like 500 points to 600 points and buffing that unit. So you end up having a 1,000-point, like, smash you in the face that could literally kill anything in the game. But if it gets nuked by something that has enough firepower to put it down, you have just lost yourself the game. And it's those traps that I keep seeing. It's like, okay, what's an actual viable combo where you just tone it down a bit? You don't need to go full overkill. It's just enough to do a job, and then you still have points left over to create other jobs. Yeah. And that's how I feel my World Eater list does. Like, yeah, something could still murk me. I only got 30 cultists out, but I got 2 rhinos full of berserkers running up the field. I got Bloodletters deep striking in. I got a badass Corn dude with the relic axe. I got my Thunder Captain coming down. I got the Obliterators coming down. And everything's going to be shooting and charging, and it's just going to be waves. And I feel it's going to be very effective against a lot of people. But there's going to be certain matchups where I'm buffed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really amped to play the Bloodletter Scarbrand thing some more against some lists that put out some shooting, I suppose. It seems with Deep Strike mechanics and fight twice, you can really do a lot with a little.
Well, you might be interested then in the new Vigilus supplement attachment, where it's 1 command point to make every Bloodletter in the unit or in the detachment have the Legion of Skulls keyword.
Okay.
And it gives them a shooting attack 8 inches away that does D3 mortal wounds for 1 CP. Or when you go to charge something, any unit that's charging that same unit and can't declare other charges to any other units gets +2 to their charge. So if they have the Horn, and let's say you don't upgrade their banner because you're trying to save CP, you can still have that +3 to charge. So they'll still have a 6-inch charge coming out of Deep Strike.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, for practically no additional cost, you know,
It's just command points. It just
yeah.
opens it up. Like you spend one command point in the beginning, and you open it up. And they have a really sweet relic that like heals you. It's a healing relic that you can put on a dude.
Yeah, that sounds like a why not kind of situation.
What I like about it is the Skull Taker and the Herald, the Bloodmaster or whatever. They all have the blood letter keyword also, so
Right.
it also applies to them. So it makes it so that you can get your characters into combat. So let's say I'm probably still going to bring banners for all my bloodletters going where they want to go, but I would upgrade it so that I can make sure my characters still get into combat, because they normally fail their 9-inch charge because they don't have the horn, they don't have the 3d6 banner, but now they're coming in with just a 7-inch charge because they got +2.
Yeah. Now I'm pretty sure you can only buy one banner, right?
You can buy as many as you want. It's all pre-deployment.
Yeah, but that would be awesome if that's the case.
Yeah, you can spend a command point for every unit and get a banner.
I'm pulling it up because I thought for some reason only once per army or whatever.
Nope, you just activate it once per game, so each banner gets to get used once.
Here we go.
But the same as Denizens in the Warp, it's all picked during the same time.
Oh yeah, it's just gonna be used once per battle, but it doesn't mean you can't have more than one.
Yep, I upgrade all my banners.
Oh god. Well, that's just Jesus Christ.
So what you do is you upgrade your banners, but then you give this specialist attachment so you can get your Skull Taker and your Herald into combat also.
Yeah, I mean, damn son, why not?
Well, you don't have the extra 2 CP because it's going to cost you 2 CP, one for the detachment and then one to get them into there.
Yeah, but I got 18 CP. It's going to be fun.
Well, if you got it, then it's worth it. Because you don't have to worry about tailing yourself out and losing those attacks, because you got to be within 6 inches to get your bonuses. So once they make combat, you don't need to tail yourself out anymore because everyone's right there.
Yeah.
That's the only benefit I really see of that detachment. Otherwise, like, who's going to use that shooting attack? Like, that's just like a Hail Mary. Like, oh my God, he has 1 wound left and I can actually shoot with the blood letter.
Yeah, I don't care about that so much. But but making charges, that's what it's all about, right?
That's what it's all about, especially if it's all pure corn, because now you're getting your loci, so you get to reroll your charge anyways.
Plus, those big charges help you do bubble wraps and try points, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, plus 2 inches to a charge. Man, if you're
already have +1, and they already got +1.
Yeah, so you got +3 to your charge, and then you go 3d6 charge. How far do you want to touch something?
Yeah.
You might get one dude in combat, and then just the rest just tail into someone's backfield and just touch all their tanks.
I love that for the guard parking lot, you know.
Oh, dude, if you have a way to get into the guard parking lot, man, you can get deep into their field.
I feel like the man, especially with these upgrades from Vigilus, the multiple bloodletter thing with Scarbrand is highly viable. It works.
Dude, I've been really trying to find ways to summon Scarbrand because there's so many ways to summon things so easily now without negatives. Yeah. Like, you can move. All right, so GW Reese from Frontline Gaming has all said summoning does not count as coming from, like, reserves.
Sure.
So you can do it turn 1.
Yeah.
So what that means is you have now the Possessed that can move, has a spell that if they move, they can still summon, and they don't take the mortal wounds if they get doubles or triples.
Oh, wow.
So what you can do is take a Possess, you can then warp time his ass, like you can advance him, warp time him, then he can summon 12 inches out in front of him and 9 away. So you can put Scarbrand 9 inches away from somebody turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, not that you would want to, but you could.
Shit, I would if I'm summoning fucking more bloodletters because I have other dudes summoning.
Yeah, I mean, like, as long as that he's bubble wrap by all the bloodletter stuff. You just don't want him to die, of course. More so than you want everybody else to get.
It's just the points. I'm finding problems like getting like sufficient combos to work in case summoning doesn't work, and that's very hard to do. There's no backup plan with Chaos Space Marines as far as I found. It's basically you have this trick or this trick, and if anyone fails, your list is broken. And that's the only hard part I'm finding. And I've read the books over and over again. I literally spent, while you guys were here, or you were still playing Kill Team, but they were playing a 4-man game. And the book just came out that Saturday. And I spent a good 6 hours diving in, taking notes. And I'm still not sure without playtesting what is going to work and what's not going to work on a list.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of options. I look forward to diving in myself there.
But I'm a big fan of Scarbrand. I think he has a place in 40k. His rules are amazing, keeping things in combat, especially now with Purge, another Renegade Legion, and they get a stratagem where if you're in combat for 1 CP, any Purge unit can shoot into that combat as long as they're not in combat. So like obliterators, all your demon engines, I mean anything.
Yeah.
Can smoke something that's in combat.
Man.
So when you have Scarbrand tying things up and then running rampant, so much fun.
The bloodletters are so brutal. Like it was, I don't even expect to tie much up. Even though I did get caught on some Nurgle stuff a few times, but what I thought was super fun was just that there was such a big bubble of bodies around him that the enemy could never engage with him. And then also, I kept him, made sure that his 8-inch bubble never touched the enemy models. It only touched my like conga line of just a few of them. So I was always getting the never suffering morale and getting the extra attacks, but always keeping out of range of the enemy from getting the same benefits, which is pretty fun. And where it's like when you need it, you can run them up to get within that 3 inches to make them never fall back. But otherwise, party.
Have you played him against the shooting army yet?
No.
Yeah, he gets Merc turn 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna deep strike him for sure.
Yeah, but even deep striking him, you still have that 9-inch charge. And
well, again, I'm not worried about charging with him. I'm worried about just him buffing.
I know,
because it takes 30 attacks to it takes 60 attacks on the charge and 90 attacks on the charge.
I would just want him to be in combat just for the fact that I want him to be tied up and not be shot at, because he has the rule where he can be tied up.
That's fair.
So it's like I'd rather get him into like something that he can't kill.
Yeah. And
just take the buffs. This one little unit gets his buff, but it can't kill him anyways. But it ties it all up so he can't be shot at. Yeah. That's how I've tried to play him against shooting armies, deep strike him in. It just costs a lot of command points because it's 3 CP to deep strike him in. And then like if he doesn't make his charge or you fail to mess up your conga line because of where they place their dudes, it can really mess you up. That's why I've been wanting to summon him. Like Joshua Death, he is an awesome demon player. He summons Scarbrand a lot, and I'm a huge fan. Huge fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts as far as chaos in my brain right now. Like thunder hammers. Come on, we get thunder hammers now. We have our own version of Smash Captains.
Show your model.
This guy right here.
Yeah. He's got wings and
a hammer. It's one of the new Chaos Space Marines. Wings are from a third-party kit that's put onto an old Chosen backpack. And then the hammer is actually a Space Wolf hammer because it has the little skull and crossbones. And that's put onto the brand new Space Marine in the Shadow Spear box that's holding the axe up. And then the Kami weapon is actually a Kami weapon out of Space Marines that I took the end off a Melta from normal Chaos Space Marines.
Very cool.
So he's like 4 kits, but he's viable in this day and age. And what's dope is doesn't have to be Blood Angels to get the +1 to wound. It's just 1 CP. Also gets to fight twice because he's Khorne, and I'm bringing him as World Eater, so he gets an extra attack. Then he gets to re-roll his own hits, so it's going to be pretty nasty.
Oh, dude, look at Black Tower's talking about. Black Tower Terrain says, did you see in the 40k final where the dude dropped 30 pinks 9 inches out?
Yeah.
And then he charged, took a few deaths in Overwatch, then placed the Blue Horrors 2 inches closer to the charge? Yeah. That's ingenious.
Yeah, very familiar with that tactic. It's just not used very often because most people don't want their pinks in combat because they want to shoot them. But yeah, it's definitely a tactic that I've seen before, and it's cool. It's real cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
I've seen it done with Brimstone, so it's cheaper. Because you just basically save, what was it, Brimstone, 3 points?
Well, you'd have to do it with blue, because then you can split them to the brims.
Oh, what they do is they put a blue in their army.
Oh, right.
And then they do it with the Brimstones. They drop a Brimstone down.
Yeah, with one blue.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's really cool. And what's dope is that's used to win. But what's nice is Overwatch is basically decided if you want to do it or not. So if your opponent is wise to the tactic, you can just not Overwatch because no way you're going to kill 30 pinks. It's not happening in Overwatch.
Right.
So just let them fail their charge and then smoke them afterwards.
That's funny.
But it is genius. It is genius. Whoever invented that tactic is nice.
Well, that's the fun thing about summoning, especially with Chaos Undivided, if you have the tools of the trade or even a Chaos Sorcerer that doesn't have any allegiance at all, then you can just kind of bust that kind of shenanigans out. But the person that does the summoning has to be the one that they're, that's where the model's going to be attached to within 12 anyway, so
yep,
that affects your style.
That's where I see the warp time and possession there.
That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, because you can just warp time somebody and then summon them, and then they're right in your face.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different way of thinking about summoning. That's the AOS. You get to move and then summon, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, but what happens is, like, I've looked at these tactics, and what happens if your spells fail? Like, you build your positioning around these spells passing.
Yeah.
And what if they fail?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that sucked.
Didn't you say that piece of terrain lets you reroll all your casts?
Yeah, but if you warp time yourself out of that bubble because you wanted to summon closer,
yeah,
like, it's just not going to work unless you save it for the later turns. And, like, I'm not that advanced of a player to be able to foresee how far a game can go if it's playing fast enough to wait till turn 5 or 6 to summon some stuff in. Like, that's just way too advanced for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't look past turn 4. Like, that's as far as I can look. Because turn 5 and 6, like, there's just too many variables.
Yeah. Yeah, summoning's definitely fun in general. I've definitely done a lot of it when it comes to horrors and everything else. Since back in 7th edition, man, no points. Whew.
Oh, dude.
That was stupid. It was broken.
Super stupid. But that's one thing I'm kind of sad about is, like, I was hoping to summon with World Eaters, and, like, you still can, but you don't get this Master of Possession that, like, gives you all these cool spells. So it's like, man, I would love to bring an Exalted Champion or Exalted Possessed dude and all these other things, and it's like, man, I can't, because I can't have a Psyker in my list.
Yeah. So, who ended up winning the old Adepticon? What was the faction?
It was Demons.
It was Demons, yeah?
Yeah, the dude that had did the pink horror trick.
Oh, wow.
He beat Juice.
And Juice is playing Colt.
Yep, Juice is playing Colt.
Damn, that's a good last match. I should watch that shit.
Yeah, and GW did not film it.
Oh,
it was filmed on a cell phone by somebody.
Sad.
That's now behind Long War's paywall.
Dang. We should have busted out the cameras, dude.
Yeah, we were in the middle of Kill Team, though.
Yeah.
We needed Chris and Ali to be on that, and they were partying a little too hard.
They were hammered. They could never operate the equipment.
Never.
What's up, Shadizo? Good to have you, man. Yeah. That's funny.
Adepticon was good stuff as far as seeing the meta. One thing I saw was just how much Inari, and maybe that's just my personal experience of getting vected 8 times in 3 of my games being against pointy ears.
There was quite a bit of orcs too. Saw a good number of orc players.
Yeah, there was some decent amount of orc players. One dude, another Chaos Space Marine player, did better than I did, and he still had the same record. He just got more points in his loss, and I was very impressed by his list. I think he was in Team Warhammer, and he had Iron Warriors with Slanesh, and he rocked 2 Keeper of Secrets. And it's like, whoa. You're doing some advanced tech there, sir.
Yeah, I wonder how that operated.
Oh, I would love to watch those games. Just seeing his list, it was so unique that I just gave him mad props. Like, no matter how well he did, that was just awesome. Like, he could have a losing record, I'd have been like, damn, that's a cool list. Because he had a bunch of different dreadnoughts. It was this Iron Warriors Slanesh style with Slanesh demons and, like, the biggest and bulkiest of all kind. It was nice.
Black Tower just talked about some cheese he did in 7th with the Aegis defense line and pink horrors. That's dirty. that was some dirtiness. 7th was busted in general.
I prefer it. I miss my blood tithe.
I had fun back then as well. I can't say I didn't. I used several of my armies that I don't have any longer is because they were no fun to play in 8th. I really enjoyed my Raven Wing army back with the Dark Angels. Then I had the double Demi Company with all my tanks. That was super fun. But all that went away.
3 points always feels good.
And then I also back then my Wraith Guard were really cool. Like the only thing I ever liked about Eldar was the Wraith Guard because I like the the reanimated ancestors into bone. Super cool. But no, that all went to turds. There was had the Yandon and my Wraith Host formations. We had the Riptide. What do they call it? The Riptide Wing.
Yeah. Every Necron player's friend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Necrons and the Tau could ally in 7th. That was funny.
What was the best is that Necrons could ally with Khorne Demonkin. They could not ally with anything else like Chaos-wise, but Khorne Demonkin.
So strange.
Dude, it's so awesome. It's because the Novaks or whatever they are, they like fought so well that Khorne was pleased.
Yeah. What else we got? Black Tower says, so Oblitz back to 115 with big FAQ.
Definitely going back to 115.
Yeah.
I mean, if they stay at 65 points, I will throw a party, and you're invited, Black Tower. Because, like, I will run 3 in every list. Every list will have 3. It's auto take. Okay. But at 115, I only see them taken as World Eater style because I'm playing them as separate units doing, like, a certain task. Playing them as Slanesh, you could play 1 unit and buff to hell, and that will be worth it. But to play it as, like, Nurgle or Tzeentch and trying to make it defensively awesome, like with the tree of Nurgle, making it super hard to kill with a 4-up Invul, neg 2 to hit, 6-up Feel No Pain, I think you can also give it, or Thousand Suns, or not Thousand Suns, but Tzeentch, giving a 3-up Invul with a 6-up Feel No Pain and a neg 1 to hit, or neg 2 to hit. I mean, those aren't going to be the ways to play them, because they're going to be so tough, people are going to just go outside of their range, and they're just going to be useless. But if playing them as Slanesh, they'll hit hard enough by double firing. That's going to be like having 2 units. And then as Khorne being able to attack, I feel it's going to have a lot of play being just the single Oblit. And just popping in someone's backfield, coming into a character, tying up a tank, and just pissing people off because they have to keep their screens so fucking tight. And they're going to utilize the field, but de-utilize their actual unit's firepower. And if they don't do that, then you're just going to find these pockets where you're just going to tie them up. And then the fun stuff comes in afterwards. I'm making Khorne great again. I'm calling it now.
Hey, I'm excited. I'm already repping. Dude, did you see how we got overridden by Khorne's Chosen on the Twitch channel last night? Were you there?
Yeah. Yeah, I was there.
Like 55 people jumped in at once. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm with you, Black Tower. 90-ish points would be badass. I wouldn't even mind 95. But 115 is just crazy expensive.
Oh, yeah. Respect. But, yo, man, I think this is about the end of this here episode. We're coming towards the last few minutes here. Is there anything else that we want to cover before we jump off? I think that coming forward, like I think we did a little bit of we skipped the last few Monday night talk shows with Tabletop Alchemy, talking about doing a little bit of a revamp to our shows in general. I was watching a lot of podcasts, or listening to a lot of podcasts on the way, driving to and from Adepticon with the buddies Chris and Ali, and we're just having a lot of conversations about, I was listening to how they consume content and what they like and dislike. Connor's another one that listens to a lot of podcasts. I think a ton of 40k cats do. And there's certain ones that people gravitate towards based on subject matter and how well they present that information, how professional it is, and everything in between. Some people, enjoy just the more banterish talks, but I think we can do a better job at having more focused content. And I'd like to be bringing in a lot more guests and interview some folks out there. So I think we got some things in the hopper. There's going to be some evolutions, I think, going into the rest of this year that I'm looking forward to wrapping the head around. Life's been going so fast, kind of just get things under control for a minute and start getting consistent again.
Yeah. Real quick before we get off, Black Tower was talking about the Devastation battery, and one thing I've been playing with, and I just need to see like big FAQ how it all works. Because they need to FAQ some of this to see how it works. But the stratagem he's talking about allows you to shoot before your opponent gets to move if they get to go first. So like in their movement phase, before they move anything, you get to shoot first with 1 unit. And Havocs, a Blitz, they can all use this strat. And I'm thinking if you play it as Alpha Legion and you forward op Havocs, you move after you figure out who goes first. So I'm not sure how the order of operations work, but if you can take a unit of Havocs, set them up on line right next to a building, your opponent goes first, you then use the stratagem to shoot with that unit, and then you activate your forward op, and then you can probably move that unit into cover after they've shot. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but it's currently how it reads that it can do that. So they're going to have to FAQ some shit because that could be crazy broken.
Well, we got an FAQ coming.
Yep. So I'm just waiting on that to see further into that devastation battery.
And they also usually hit an FAQ on a new release anyways as well. So we'll see lots of exciting things to come in the near future. It's at Black Tower's just at the end of their move.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, I didn't look too deeply into it because as soon as that was mentioned, I was like, no, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Seems way too broken.
Well, very cool, man. Lots going on, lots to do. Can't wait for everything that's coming down the pipeline. This Saturday in itself is going to be a good-ass time. You guys can feel free to tune in. We're going to be doing all-day live stream of the 40k tournament on Twitch as we're live at Battlegrounds for the 3rd installment to our Tournament League Battle in the Warp. Excited for everything going on at ITC. Best Coast Pairings talked about making some updates I've been talking with here recently that I'm looking forward to. It's just a good time to be alive in the tabletop wargaming scene. So, yeah, man.
Yep, pick up all your Ducast stuff before it sells out because everything so far has already been sold out.
Yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in, and it's great to have everybody. Y'all keep taking fun seriously.